Alright, so I thought I'd post a couple of home winterization videos. It's that time of the year. Chances are if you grew up in a cold part of the world like I did, the view out your window looked a little bit more like this than this. And that's because we always used to put the heavy sheets of plastic on the outside of the windows to help prevent drafts and so forth. And I'm going to show you a different way to do it that'll allow your view out the window to look pretty much as it is right now. Alright, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to show you how to use this Frost King window insulation kit. And this is the stuff that when you hit it with a hair dryer, it kind of shrinks down and it actually leaves your view pretty much intact. I bought this kit here at Lowe's. It's a 9-pack and I paid about $13 I think, and I've got one for my large picture window and I think that one cost me around $9. So I'm not into it very much, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put it on. Mine's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to have to put the adhesive on the inside of my window because I've got Roman blinds and they sit in. So if you have mini blinds or Roman blinds as opposed to curtains, you may have to do it this way. The instructions would like to have you put it on the outside here. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is remove my webcam here. This is up year-round. You can click the link above and access it any time, as well as you can see it's had some difficult times, and you can check out a little of the history with this next link right here. Alright, so I need to remove my blinds here, and those come off rather easily. Alright, now's a good time to get that yearly cleaning in, a little bit of Windex and a rag, because you're going to put plastic over this. I mean monthly cleaning, not yearly. So go ahead and do that. I've already cleaned this one up, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the insulation kit. Put the camera up here because we're going to do the top window casing first. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take a little measurement because when the blind goes up, it does sit back a little bit. So I'm going to use this old rule here. This is my grandfather's and I like to use it, but it also is perfectly suited for this because it's got a little brass slide on it. So the first thing we're going to do is figure out how far in we want this plastic to sit. Obviously we want the larger air gap if possible. But I also don't want my blinds to rip it out. So we'll just come up with a measurement here, and I'm just going to make a mark so I know where to put the tape. It's just double stick adhesive tape. I'm just using pencil so I can erase it or wash it right off. And I'll just make marks, you know, just a few, just so when I line the tape up, I'll have something to guide me so I don't get the tape all crooked. And I'll have to change it for the bottom because it's got a wider windowsill. Okay, so in the box, this here is, again, this is the 9-sheet pack. So you get quite a large roll of tape. Okay, and it also has 9 plastic sheets like this, and I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for right now because we're going to start with the tape at the top first. Okay, so I'm just going to take the tape and line it up on the marks that I made. So what I do is I get one end started, I hold it loose until I get the other end on. I'm going to push it down. Okay, I'm going to do this for the top, the sides, and I'll hold off on the bottom for right now. And I'm also, you'll notice I haven't peeled, this is double stick tape, and I have not peeled off this top portion yet because it is really sticky and we want to wait. I'm just going to take a razor knife, scissors or a razor knife or something. It's going to make this job easier for sure. Okay. Go ahead and move on to the sides. Alright, so you can see I got this right hand side done here. So I have the top and both sides done. Again, I've still not peeled off the outside backing. So I'm going to go ahead and get the measurement for the bottom here. I'm going to just basically bring this brass rule out so I can still use the edge of the wooden rule. You know, even though this rule is kind of old, it was my grandfather's and I like to use these kinds of things when I can. and you know, in places where I know it's not going to get destroyed. And this is a great use because you can see here I've got an edge, and all I've got to do is set it and then just use this end of this brass rule as my guide. So now I'm not guaranteeing this is going to save you tons of money, especially with today's windows. The glass is much better, and the windows are not quite as drafty as they used to be. At least in the house I grew up in, they were really drafty. But I guess my theory is, you know what, for $23 I've got into this, and the time I've got to, you know, put this film on, you know, if it makes people feel more comfortable, especially by that large picture window I've got, you know, and they're not so prone to turning up the heat, which is something I'm not real keen on, you know, then you're going to make your money back, you know. And it's one of those things, you know, insulation generally I would say pays for itself, but this is obviously something that you take off every year, so, but it's going to pay for itself for $23, and if people are sitting on that couch and they're not cold and they don't want to turn the heat up, I'm going to make the $23 back. So, alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and apply the tape on this bottom piece here. Alright, so I'm just going to take the edge of my blade here and see if I can get this one started. Again, this can be the tedious part of it, but I will admit that I cheated. Before I turned the camera on, I actually got it started. So I'm just going to peel that back, and again, you don't want anything to touch that, especially the plastic. Once you start making contact with the tape in plastic, it basically sticks. So you want to be careful, you want to get your corners lined up, and then we're going to put the plastic in place. Let me grab a sheet. Alright, so I've got a sheet here, and you can see that it is really clear plastic. I'm going to go ahead and get both ends sort of pulled apart. It's nice to have a helper when you do, especially the picture window. I'm going to have to pay my son, who was outside playing earlier, to help me out. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I've never hung it on the inside like this. I've always hung it on the outside. I'm just going to take the corners, I'm going to stretch it evenly, and I'm going to go ahead and just try to apply the plastic. I mean, you can tell it's plenty large enough, so I have plenty of room for error. But if you get it too crooked, obviously your sides aren't gonna line up. Okay, so let's just see if we can get it done here. Okay, so I've got my thumb on both corners. Okay, don't worry about the excess. We'll take that down with the razor blade when we're done. And you just want to apply it and make sure it's on there good. Alright. Alright, so I've got the top started. No need to show you that. You'll have fun with that on your own. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of take this in and fold it, the film, and I'm going to make sure that the fold is pretty consistent all the way down, because I don't want to get too crooked. There's a bunch of folds already in it, so if you can line it up with one of those folds, you'd be in good shape. Okay. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start pulling and keep tension on this. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking there's all kinds of wrinkles, and I'm sure that you've seen this product before, but a lot of the wrinkles, if you get it too loose, it's not going to come out. So when we hit the other side, I'm going to try to pull it tight, which is why I kind of wanted to have it even, but I haven't done a great job with it here on this side. Alright, so again, I've already started this end. You don't need to sit here and watch me fiddle with that. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab it with one hand. With the other hand, I'm going to try to pull tight. So I'm pulling the film this way, and as I pull, I'm also going to apply it to the tape as I work my way down, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. I'll get the top corner here. And I'm just going behind and kind of put my finger over where it's been laid down to the tape, as long as I think it's where I want it. So after this, I'm going to do a couple of other videos. I'm going to insulate my garage a little better. Got radiant heat in there. Got to fix a couple of door latches so they close a little tighter. I'll make sure I'm not getting it too tight here. And obviously you want to leave yourself a little bit of room to get this last corner and be able to get, see, I've got this extra tape here, so I've got to get all that pulled off. So I don't want to go right to the bottom because then I'll pretty much be sealed out. All right. All right. This is where it's going to be. I'm going to pull this last side down here and start attaching the bottom one stretch at a time. I also had to trim around the camera, so I've sliced it there and I've sliced it there. Alright, so it turns out I don't have a hair dryer. All I have is the Wagner. And I'm letting it heat up right now. Yeah, which is ironic because my wife's a hairdresser. But let's go ahead and see if we can start to shrink this down a little bit. I'm just going to hold it further back. With a hair dryer, you probably have to get a little closer. Now, I don't know if you can see, I don't know how much the camera's picking up of this, but the wrinkles kind of disappear. And I'm going to start from one corner and work my way across and down, kind of diagonally. And anytime I see wrinkles, especially with this one here, this is actually working better than a hair dryer, I think. You just basically blow the hot, warm air over it, and it shrinks the film right down. Look, I don't know if you can see the wrinkles. I hope you can. Let's see if I can get this on the camera. Okay, so there's wrinkles all through here right now. If I take my heat gun, wave it over it, they disappear, okay? The same is going to happen with a hair dryer, okay? So you don't need a heat gun. So basically it's going to pull this thing tight. The only thing I'm worried about and I'm watching for is that the film does not pull up from the tape anywhere, right? You don't want to get it that tight. Because actually the tape, once you stick it, it's not as sticky anymore. And I've actually applied additional pieces before in the past when I've sort of over tightened. Okay? So there it is. I don't know if you can even see that. I'm going to back it up here and see. Okay, so the last thing I have to do here is basically trim out my my excess. And I use a razor knife. You could use scissors. If you're going to use a razor knife, make sure it's sharp. If you're like me, you'll use one until the thing falls out of the knife, and then you go buy new ones. But for this, obviously you want a nice clean finish. And I'm not touching the wood at all. I'm just running it up through the plastic. Once you get it started, it should just go. Alright, so there it is. I mean, you can see here, this is the plastic. And yeah, there's a little bit of a film over it, but nothing like the old days, right? And just take your hand and run it all along up the top, the bottom, and make sure it's all good and tight. And again, if you have drafty windows, you know, it could be an issue out here. So you may want to put caulking on the outside or the inside of your window sill. But this plastic here, I mean, this is functional. I have a nice little air gap. It's going to allow me to put my Roman blinds in here, or mini blinds, whatever you have. And still, you can look out the window and see everything. It looks good. And I've got the webcam out here, so don't be afraid to check that out from time to time. Hopefully this video has been helpful. I'm going to do a couple of more winterization tip videos, and please leave questions and comments below. Thanks for watching.